Hitler also revised history, and in Hitler's case, erased part of his own past. On March 11, 1938, enthusiastic crowds greeted the Führer as he annexed Austria and made it part of the Third Reich. But Hitler had another very personal agenda. Once Austria belonged to Hitler, he took steps to eradicate any suspicion of his Jewish past.
One thing Hitler, from the very beginning, sought to do was to cover up the evidence of his past. And so, by doing so, he caused a lot of rumors and myths to be projected upon the blank space of the past that he tried to erase.
Hitler eradicated the Austrian village of Dollersheim and a dark secret that haunted him for years. The birth registry of Dollersheim held the birth certificate of his father, who Hitler suspected was the illegitimate son of a Jew.
Peter Joseph Merola tries to manipulate people into thinking that the Zeitgeist movies are not the Zeitgeist movement. Peter Joseph Merola is trying to hide the fact that the Zeitgeist movement is a conspiracy theorist movement and actively promotes conspiracy theories within the Zeitgeist movies and Zeitgeist movement. Next clip. Taken from the Zeitgeist Addendum movie that promotes and invites people to join the Zeitgeist movement, at which Peter Joseph Merola says that the movies are not the movement, but this would say otherwise.
And 6. Join the movement. Go to thezeitgeistmovement.com and help us create the largest mass movement for social change the world has ever seen. We must mobilize and educate everyone about the inherent corruption of our current world system.
Looks like Peter is trying to hide the fact that his main recruiting method is purely based off conspiracy theories and nothing else. Hiding that fact is emphasizing this even more, and as well as acknowledging this fact that the Zeitgeist movement is in fact a conspiracy theorist movement, because the main recruiting method is in fact conspiracy theories within the movie. To detach the movement from the films is simply silly. To say the Zeitgeist movies are not the Zeitgeist movement is like saying electricity has no relation in powering a television. The fact that electricity turns on and the television works is coincidence and nothing else.
My films are not the movement. If you don't want me to promote the movement through a means which has a precedent for millions of views, just let me know. The films are tools and they work multiple angles. Clearly, the Zeitgeist movement isn't about comparative religion, nor is it about 9/11 truth or banking reform. We can't be so narrow to assume that just because Zeitgeist 1 contains content not with the Zeitgeist movement that suddenly it needs a disclaimer. The films came first. What if I had 5 other Zeitgeist films? What if I made other films in general about, say, music, percussion or equity trading? Should they have disclaimers as well? Should I walk around with a t-shirt that puts a disclaimer on my chest so everyone knows Peter Joseph the filmmaker is different from Peter Joseph of the Zeitgeist movement? Also, Zeitgeist 1 will eventually be re-released in updated/expanded form with a source guide to force the neurotic debonkers to actually think about what they are criticizing. Wait until I re-release it in a number of weeks with a near 300-page source guide that is being put together by a team of researchers I have hired. I am busy working on the 3rd film, so my time is limited. The religion section is actually the strongest of the whole film, believe it or not. What you find online to debunk it is really sad when one actually traces the history. As far as the movement, no, the films are not the movement, as they extend into subjects that are simply not relevant. However, Z1 is less of a traditional doka than a challenge in critical thought. There are also deliberate exaggerations, as the work is artistic in its means. It is a combination of gesture and fact and is deliberately provocative. I actually like that it has some errors right now, for it forces/encourages people to research. However, for the sake of clarifying, the few errors that do exist will be removed in the new version, not to mention a good deal of updating and expansion. This update has been on my hard drive for many months, but I wanted to make sure Source 9 comes out at the same time, as debunkers have it too easy with Zeitgeist in film form, as the pace of the film is extremely fast and there is a lack of explanation for points. Therefore the attacks come easy to those who do not have the ability/interest to research on their own. Wait for the full companion guide. As far as the point of this thread, I guess people missed the addition to number 6 in base. Please note that, while the word Zeitgeist is also associated with Peter Joseph's films, Zeitgeist, the movie, and Zeitgeist, addendum, the film-based content isn't to be confused with the tenets of the Zeitgeist movement here. Rather, the films were inspirations for the Zeitgeist movement due to their popularity and overall message of seeking truth, peace and sustainability in society. The movement is not about comparative religion, false flag terrorism, economic Yemen, fractional reserve banking or the Federal Reserve. The films are unrelated to the movement in detail and are personal expressions of Peter Joseph. The term Zeitgeist is defined as the general intellectual, moral and cultural climate of an era. The term movement very simply implies motion and change, therefore the Zeitgeist movement is thus an organization which urges change in the dominant intellectual, moral and cultural climate of the time.
As far as the proving and so on go, the films are not the proving. As far as the proving and so on go, the films are not the proving.
Woo! Zeitgeist! There's Gwen, there's the Tesla, beautiful, that's the owner. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, he's from Fort Lauderdale, he's starting his own thing, hopefully, sooner or later. What's up, Ernesto? The new, people to be here.
Rookie.
Oh, great. Yeah, the world is one, you know it. So here we got people, all day we've been just talking to people, handing out DVDs, everything. We handed out a bunch of buttons, a bunch of DVDs, cards, everything. Look, empty on cards. Empty. There are people looking at the car, the Tesla. Hope people get motivated to buy the new one that's coming out in 2012. It's gonna be the sedan. It'll be a lot more affordable. From 30 to 40 grand. This one's 110, so it's very affordable. The next one that's coming out. You see people looking at it. They come to our booth right behind us, right in front of it. Some donations. It's all great.
As far as the proving and so on go, the films are not the proving. As far as the proving and so on go, the films are not the proving.
So, we came out to see Capitalism, a Love Story, Michael Morty's documentary today in Culver City, and a few of us from the LA Zeitgeist movement showed up. We had copies that we had made of Zeitgeist Addendum, and we passed out a good 40 or 50 copies to people coming out of the movie that were really interested in taking this film a step further, and we just presented a documentary on the monetary system and real solutions. And we actually had out quite a few, so if you're out there in the Zeitgeist movement and you guys are looking for some activities you can take, get some copies made. Peter even encourages us to make these copies ourselves and just pass them out to people, especially when they come out of this movie about capitalism. They're going to want to find out about what other solutions there are.